All right, we're going to get going with an action-packed night tonight. So thanks everyone for showing up. Help yourself as you go throughout. Pizza in the back, which is great. Those of you who don't know me, I'm Ian Grant. I'm the executive director of UNH's Entrepreneurship Center, the E-Center, down in Madbury Common. Hopefully you guys have all been there. Before we get going, I want to we have a new sponsor this year, who's Bottom Line Technologies, who are sponsoring all our boot camps. So really neat, not just that it is a software company, but they actually have hired many students who've done programs out of the E-Center for a wide range from finance, accounting, to software development, et cetera. So thanks to them, Pizza's here, being able to bring our guest speaker all the way from Puerto Rico to us. So everyone who hasn't yet, if you haven't, swipe in for I2 Passport. If you're E-Club, talk to Isaiah in the back for that later. And so this is really neat. So part of the reason we do this in the beginning of the semester is that it all starts with ideas. And so what better way to be able to figure out how to start that process? And every year we try to bring different people in. So a very good friend of mine from the University of Virginia has worked with Alexandra, comes highly recommended. So she graduated from Cornell, pursued her MBA from University in Barcelona, lives in New York, lived in New York, Spain, South Africa, 45 other countries before moving to Puerto Rico permanently. So she uses sort of this experienced international multicultural background to sort of drive a lot of this idea creation, creativity background. When she's not working, she spends her time teaching other teachers and also with kids. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to, actually one more thing before that, sorry. Jack, did you want to say anything about Entrepreneurship Club?
Sure. So my name is Jack Potvin. I'm the vice president. My name is Jack Potvin. I'm the vice president of the Entrepreneurship Club. Just a quick show of hands. How many of you are in the Entrepreneurship Club? All right. So about half or more than half. If you're not, first of all, you'll definitely enjoy this event today. Really suggest you join either if you have a current idea. If you're looking to build an idea, we're a great resource. We get together once a week, Mondays 5:30 at the Entrepreneurship Center, right across from Hop and Grind. It's not a huge commitment. It's really a great opportunity to hear speakers, get involved in events. If you have any questions, definitely come see me after, and I can answer any questions you have. Thank you.
Thanks very much. Okay, with that, Alexandra.
Perfect. Okay, we have a packed room, and we're going to be standing up and sitting down a lot. So I hope, we have space to do it. Thank you for inviting me. Like Ian said, my name is Alexandra. You can address me as Alexandra, or don't call me professor or anything. So the first exercise, I know a lot of people already cheated, but that's fine. This is what we're going to do. And I'm sorry we couldn't bring enough. I wasn't expecting so many people. So basically, you're asked to build a dock with the 6 pieces of Legos that you guys have, and you have 1 minute. So go ahead and do that. Okay, anybody else has a dock? Did you get a chance to see I know there were only 2 per table, but so far there's only 2 docks that are the same. And why do I start a creativity bootcamp with this? What do you think we can learn from this exercise? There's more one way. This is very participatory, so if you guys help me out, thank you. I don't know who said that, but yeah. What else can we learn about this exercise?
Everybody thinks differently, so in a different manner.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay. There's a couple of things. First of all, diversity. Okay, diversity it's needed for creativity to flourish. Everybody has a different idea. The second one is action. I asked for a dog. I got a dog. If it's pretty, if it doesn't resemble a dog, it doesn't matter. It's still a dog. In your head, it's still a dog, and that's good. Okay? So don't worry about the initial assignment being perfect. Right now, we just need to get there. And there's probably how many different dogs there, you think? At least 20. Okay? So keep that in mind today as we go through the different exercises, okay? This is me, I already got introduced. Second thing, if everybody can close their eyes for a second. And raise your hand if you consider yourself creative.
Say the question again.
Raise your hand if you consider yourself creative, to be creative. Yeah, I know I have an accent, so if you feel like I need to repeat anything, I'm fine. Don't worry. Okay, so we have like half the room, more or less. One of the objectives that I have today is that by the end of today, I want everybody to raise their hand. And I'm going to build that confidence so that you confidently can raise your hand, okay? So that's one of the objectives we have for today. The other objectives are get to experience the mindsets that make creativity grow, identify how we often hinder creativity in other people and the things that we might be saying or the way we might be acting to limit creativity in a team setting, explore different tools to increase idea creation and creativity, and make sure that by the end of today you all feel creative and can, okay? So let's start by defining what is creativity. What is creativity according to what you think is creativity? Okay, so problem solving. What else?
Thinking outside the box.
Out of the box thinking. What else? New ideas. I'm sorry? Different perspective. Oh, great. Well, you're getting flexibility. What else? Anything else? The ability to add.
Act on your ideas.
Okay, yeah, that's very important, okay? It's not a good idea just for the sake of having a good idea. You need to act upon them, okay? Otherwise, if it stays in your head and nobody knows and you don't implement it, it's not creativity, okay? So let's define, and this is a common ground that I like for everybody to understand what's creativity. It's novelty that is useful. Like I said, it's not just creative for being creative. It's got to be useful or... Okay, creativity is the production of a novel and useful idea in any domain. Creativity is the process of bringing something new into being. Okay, those are some definitions. But we also have innovation and creative problem solving. Okay, so creativity is novelty that's valuable. Innovation is the implementation of creativity, often requiring multiple skill sets. And creative problem solving is a framework that's the one that we're going to be using today, and I'll explain like the whole process, and we're going to focus more on ideation, okay? But it's a framework, CPS, with 4 phases. And we're going to start, I'm going to show you how it goes. But basically, in order to ideate, we first need to understand what's the problem. There's no use on having a great idea if it doesn't solve a real problem, or if it solves the wrong problem, okay? Then we go ahead, once we have the clarity on what the problem is, we can ideate. We bring lots of ideas and all that. Then we choose or filter down 1 or 2, and we decide to develop them, and then we implement them. So the whole process goes like that. It's very similar. This is a framework that design thinking, synectics, and other problem-solving frameworks use. It's the base. It's more than 100 years old, and it was invented by Alex Osborne and Sid Barnes. Alex Osborne is the O in BBDO, the advertising agency. Okay, so it's quite old, but now it's gaining a lot of momentum through design thinking, synectics, lateral thinking, and a lot of advertising are using this framework. So I would like you to all reflect a little bit, and because we're going to say it out loud. So reflect on the things that you consider have hindered you from being creative, things that you have heard people tell you, or that, maybe they didn't tell you, but you heard people say it. And what are some of the things that we unconsciously do to stop people from being creative, okay? So if you can have just 1 minute and then tell me, because we're going to play another game. So basically the idea is that everybody's born creative. Okay, we all have that. But along the way, something happens and we become less creative. There was a longitudinal study that means like they took 1,000 kids from 3 years old till they died, and 95% of them started creative, and along the way, only 3% after 21 years old, they were still creative. They took the same test every year. So what happened? Can you share it? Yeah. Okay, you want to share?
Society telling us that we need to stick with old solutions that work.
Okay, society. What else happens?
Rejection.
Rejection. How does copyright limit creativity?
Well, you may come up with something that someone else already has it, so you don't want to expand on it.
We'll get to that, but you can tweak it. Tweak the initial idea, and it's called springboarding, but we'll get to that. But yeah, what else?
Other priorities?
Okay, yeah. Go ahead. What do you mean with that?
Sometimes you want to make something, but the technologies and code areas will allow you to do it.
Okay. I'm going to write limitations, because that can be other kinds of limitations, not technological limitations. I usually do this with adults, so I'm not sure if this is going to work that well, but who remembers the game Clue? Okay, so it's not that bad. I was afraid nobody was going to raise their hand. So this game is basically who killed creativity, okay? And we have a couple of people here that I'm going to frame for you, okay? The first person is the narrow-minded, okay? That's the person that considers himself or herself the expert and would not allow you to be creative because he's got the best ideas, okay? The second person is the control crew. That's micromanaging, the bureaucracy, systems, culture, everything that controls how you think. Groupthink, when you're afraid to say something because of what other people might say, that's judgment and rejection. It's also under the control crew. The comfort zone and the routine and being, in autopilot. We're constantly not even thinking what we're doing. We drive home, we make a phone call, and all of a sudden we forget, we were supposed to go that way because we're on our autopilot. And that limits the time that we have to start thinking freshly about problem solving. And then the pessimist, who's also always saying no. No, that cannot be done. We don't have a budget for that. We thought about that. It can't be done. Okay, so anything you present to that person, he or she is gonna say no. And then with what? Groupthink, I already told you about that. Fear of the unknown. What's gonna happen if I do this and it goes wrong? There's a process called iteration. Like I said with the dogs, just get going, start doing it. And if it's not the prettiest dog, then you have a chance to tweak it and make it prettier. It's still a dog, So if we seek perfection, we are not going to start doing it. If we just jump in and start doing, we always have a chance to make revisions. Okay? Pressure, we already talked about that. Priorities, deadline, high expectations, limited time. You got to do this. You come up with a great idea and you have an hour to do it. If you give me an hour, I'm going to give you the tip of the iceberg. I'm going to give you the answer that anybody can give you. I'm going to need more time, to think about it, to understand the problem, to seek solutions and all that. And then the apathy and good enough attitude. You need motivation in order to be creative. And we're going to do an exercise on that, okay? This is basically, like in 2015, creativity was the 10th. Sorry, I lost my English. Skill that people were seeking, and that moved to 3rd in 5 years, and it's going to continue to move up, okay? So it's a very important skill. And it's not only because of what people say it's important. According to LinkedIn, it's the top skill when employers are posting a job. What skills are required? Creativity is the top skill. Okay? And this was in 2019. Okay? No creativity or innovation workshop can be done or executed without a quote from Einstein, so I always plug that in. It's got to be there. So we're going to go over some exercises and some mindsets that we need in order to be creative. The first are the lies that we tell ourselves. Creativity is for artists. It's not for me. I'm not the creative type. There's a department for that. Why do I need to be creative? Let the innovation or the research and development do that. And I don't have a bone of creativity in me. So the first thing is to stop taking yourself so seriously. And for that, we're going to stand up. I'll give you an instruction. Choose a partner. And I'll walk you through the exercise. Everybody stand up. Choose a partner in your own table. Everybody's in pairs. Okay. Greet that person and introduce yourself. Greet them. Okay, over here. Greet that person for a second time, but give them a different greeting. Okay? Don't use the same greeting that you gave, that you already gave them. Okay? So second greeting. Greet them. Okay, greet them again. Different greeting. Third greeting. Greet them again. A fourth one.
Welcome. Hi, my name's Chris.
We have to get to 10 greetings, so go ahead. Another one. We're on the 5th. The 6th. Número 6.
How's it going?
7. 7th. 7th. 8. Another greeting.
Welcome.
Okay, the 9th, and we're almost there, so go ahead. Some energy. We're on the 9th greeting.
How's it going? Where are you from?
Okay, and the final one, 10th. Número 10.
Yes.
Okay. You can all sit down. And we're going to debrief. What did you notice? What was the typical greeting? The first 1, 2, 3, the second half, or the last ones? What were the typical traditional greeting?
Several handshakes.
Handshakes? And that was probably the first, second, or third, right?
Yes.
Handshakes, anybody? First, second, or third? Anybody that shook their hand on the 10th? Okay. Let's see if we can identify some patterns. What were some of the strategies you used when you were getting tired of, oh my God, another reading, oh my God, another one? What were some of the strategies you used to keep up with the exercise?
Laugh.
Laugh, what else? I'm sorry? Using different body parts? Uh-huh. What else? Variations of what? Of the first one you did or something you saw? What kind of variations? Who said variations? Can you
Variations of like the same
Okay. What else? Mashups? Uh-huh.
Using different languages.
Uh-huh. So that's like incorporating something new to an old one. What else?
different movements.
Another movement. Did anybody look around and see, and like to take a peek of what other people were doing? That's okay. That's a strategy. It's legal, yeah. You take a look around, see what other people are doing, and make a twist. That's the copyright thing that I was telling you about. It's called springboarding. And you get the idea from somebody else, you add a twist, and it's a new idea. So it's legal with creativity. What were other strategies that you used?
Thinking about other cultures and countries and how they treat each other.
Mm-hmm. So you were seeking inspiration from something else. That's it's also called lateral strategy. And basically what lateral thinking. It's basically taking a problem, let's say like a bottleneck in a restaurant, and you check how the people in NASCAR pit stop, how they speed things up, and you implement that idea to the restaurant business to make the bottleneck out of the kitchen flow better. That's lateral thinking. And it's a common strategy that's used for creativity. Anything else? Okay. So another exercise. Choose another partner now. And I'm going to give you the instructions. One of the person is going to be person A, and the other one is going to be person B. So choose a new partner and decide who's going to be person A and who's going to be person B. That's it. Okay, everybody has a partner. Okay, so I'm going to give you the instructions now. We're going to plan a vacation together. Okay? You don't know anything about the other person, or perhaps you know a little bit. But person A is going to suggest a destination, and person B is going to respond, yes, but. And I'll show you how it goes. Every time person B responds, yes, but, person A wants to accommodate to that limitation, or let's call it that way, okay? And try to suggest a different destiny. So let's go where? Where do you want to go?
Florida.
Florida. But I live in Puerto Rico. That's too close. You suggest another place. So now you know that it's got to be farther. It can't be Florida. It can't be Jamaica. It can't be
California.
California. But that is too far away. And I don't want to be in a plane. I got to change planes. You know, like I want to go direct flight. So that limits you to Mexico, Colombia, New York. Okay, so suggest another one.
Is Texas too far?
You suggest Texas, and I say yes, but I don't want to be in the United States.
Okay.
So you suggest another one.
Mexico.
Yes, but I don't like spicy food.
Okay. Why?
Okay, so you see the dynamic. Basically, she's asking me to go to a place, and I respond with a yes, but, and I come up with whatever reason I don't want to go to that destination. And she's got to suggest another place. Okay? We're going to do that and experience that with the partner that you just chose. And we're going to try to plan a vacation, okay? Okay, over here. Same exercise, same partner. A is A and B continues to be B. But instead of saying yes, but, we're going to say yes and. So the and is going to add to the initial idea, and then the second person can say yes and. No need to change the destination. So let's go to Florida.
Okay.
Yes, and we get to go to the beach every single day. And you say yes, and you add something new to the idea. Yes, and?
Yes, and I can buy a cool umbrella.
Yes, and then we buy more umbrellas. And we sell them to tourists that want to buy an umbrella.
Yes, and I can buy a matching towel.
Perfect, you get the idea? So it's gonna be like yes and, a ping pong of yes ands, okay? So go ahead and plan the vacation. So how did yes but feel? Yes but. Can you tell me how it felt? Whoever was saying yes but or whoever was receiving the yes but? Frustration, Negative, I'm sorry? Easier? Easier for you to say yes, but? Yes. Because it was not easier for the person, right? Easier?
Really didn't get anywhere.
We didn't get anywhere,
You're only able to develop your plans to a surface level because they changed so much.
Okay, I'm gonna start, we can add stuff to this, but I wanna go a little bit over this. The first thing I say is yes, but is a no in disguise. You wanna say yes, but it's basically a no, you know? Just go ahead and say no. It builds frustration, people don't get anywhere. You say that it's easier. It's easier because we're wired to criticize and we're wired to find the fault. It's easier because it's just how we're wired. It's very, very important, and I'll tell you when it's very important to be yes and when you can start filtering things up, because you cannot say yes and to everything. I know that. But in the process, you start building lots of ideas, and the bad ones are going to be filtered out naturally in the process. So in the beginning of the process, say yes to everything, and there's not going to be a need to say no, because they're going to, the bad ideas are not going to pass the filter or the criteria. And it's going to be easier for you because you're not going to have to say no. You did not get anywhere with yes, but. And you're not going to get anywhere. The ideas are not going to grow. And it's just a stop. And it adds frustration to the team. What happens when you say a great idea and you get a yes, but, and you try to tweak it and you still get a yes, but, and you tweak it again and you're going to get yes, but, eventually you're going to say, what? Screw you. I'm not going to give you another idea. Go find yourself an idea and implement it and do whatever you want. I'm not going to help you. And what happens when you do yes and? How did it feel? I'm sorry? Comprehensive? More productive? I'm sorry about the handwriting. Productive, collaborative?
You built up rather than tore down.
I'm sorry?
You built up rather than tore down the idea.
The ideas grew. So, yeah, that's the whole idea of the yes and. Sometimes ideas are not perfect, like I said, but I communicate the idea, you interpret it in a certain way, and you add something different, and then all of a sudden we have a different idea. And maybe that was not what I intended, but it was still good. And that's growing ideas. Did you get to a place where you didn't think you were going to get and that you were actually enjoying it? Like, we invented a business together. We're going to sell umbrellas. Did anybody experience that? Say, you know what? Yeah, that sounds good. We might do that. That's what happens. You begin to explore new places that you had not thought of. Okay? And I want you to keep this in mind when ideating. Okay? It's one of the mindsets to keep in mind. Okay, and then there's a way to orient the brain to generate possibilities, and it's called invitational language. I'll walk you through it, and then we're going to have some time to explore what it feels like. So all ideas usually begin with a wish. Say Polaroid. You remember that instant camera where you instantly developed the picture before digital cameras came out? That was the wish of a little girl. She took pictures and she told her grandpa, "Oh, I wish I could see the pictures immediately." And the grandpa was like, "Whoa, that sounds interesting." And he invented the Polaroid camera. Okay? So, ways to wish, obviously, we can say, "I wish this and this happened." I can say, it would be great if, and what I see myself doing. I'll walk you through a problem. Say, there's a lot of traffic jams in Puerto Rico. Many. So, what would be a wish for me? I wish I didn't have to take so many traffic jams. And how can I turn that wish into a how-to, a challenge statement? Because if I say, I wish there were no so many traffic jams in Puerto Rico, I am giving control to somebody external, not me. There's nothing I can do to avoid that. Or perhaps there might be. If I turn that into a how-to or a how might I or how can we, then that's going to flip the brain to seek solutions. I can say, how might I avoid traffic jams? What are some of the things that I can do to avoid traffic jams? Use Waze. What else?
Public transit.
Use public transportation. I'm so okay, I can take a different route. I can get out of home earlier. So in the way I frame the problem, different ideas come out. So what if I say, you know what, there's nothing about it I can do. There's no public transportation system. It's not reliable. I cannot widen the road. But there's something else I can do. And I can change the way I perceive or the stress that a traffic jam gives me. And I can say, in what ways might I become productive while I am driving in a traffic jam? What ideas come to mind? While driving? Yes, and audiobook is great. I can listen to a podcast. I can read an audiobook or listen to an audiobook. What else? You what?
If you're stuck in traffic, like you're not moving, so like.
Okay. That's fine, don't worry. What else can I do to alleviate the stress or be productive or whatever?
Listen to music.
I can listen to music. What else can I do?
Call people.
I can call people that I haven't spoken to in a long time and catch up. What else can I do?
Think of ways to fix traffic jams.
Think of ideas, yeah. It's a problem, I hate it. Or I can think of ideas about other work-related stuff and feel productive. Today I solved world hunger while in a traffic jam. So what I want you to get with this is the way we frame the problem, different ideas come out. On the first set, I told you, I don't even remember what was the framing, but basically it was get out of the house earlier, do public transportation, build a bigger road, take a different route. And the second one was more about, things that I could do to feel less stressed or feel more productive. So the way you frame the question springs different answers. So that's why it's very important. So hold on a second. If you can change your mindset, I wanted to do an exercise, but I think it's too big of a crowd to experience this. But if you can take 2 minutes, you don't have to share them. I wanted people to share them, and we're going to look for solutions. But if you can take 2 minutes to think of a problem you're currently having and frame it in a way using how to, how might I, how can we, in what ways might we, and you're going to see that how that springs different solutions. So just take 1 minute to think of a problem that you're having that you need to find solutions for, and frame it in that way. And if you can frame it in 2 different ways, then that's better. Anybody has a problem that they can share and they framed it into different ways? Go ahead. He's very excited to share his problem, so.
The solution like the right way. But my problem is I don't sleep enough.
Okay. And what was your how to or how might I?
How might I change that so I can sleep?
How might you what? How might you sleep? Get some more C's? Okay. Did you frame it in a different way?
So she kind of like turned it into like a pro where I could get more done because I'm up for more of the 24 hours in a day.
I can hardly. Oh, okay. So she turned it into an opportunity. Yeah. So how can you be more, productive while you're still awake because you have that window that nobody else gets? Perfect. Anybody else?
How might I get out of bed willingly in the morning?
How to get willingly?
Like at 6 in the morning, if you get up early, how just get up without thinking about it.
Did you frame it in a different way? So how might I get motivated at 5 in the morning to get up? Did you frame it in a different way?
Oh, no, I said how might I get out of bed willingly in the morning? How might I get out of bed willingly in the morning?
Okay. Any other way of framing it? No? Is there another way to frame that problem? He needs to be more motivated to get early.
In what ways might I get out of bed quicker?
No, different problem.
Oh, different problem.
Yeah. Well, same problem, different challenge statement. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. Remember how I told you that my problem was that I hated traffic jams, and I framed it in 2 different ways?
Yeah.
So that's what
Okay, so how might I want to
What do you want to do in the morning that you want to get up early?
work out and like get that out of the way.
So that's another, yeah. So how might I get to work out every day or whatever? It doesn't need to be in the morning. And now you see, you get different solutions. Maybe it's not in the morning. Maybe you need to do something late in the afternoon or whatever, you know? So the idea is that the way you frame the problem, you get different solutions. Because if you keep with the way, how do I get myself early in the morning, you're going to get the same ideas. If you frame it in a different way, you're going to get different ideas. That's what okay? So that's what I wanted you to experience. Okay, no, this is a problem. Okay. Do you have, everybody has a pencil or a pen? You have Sharpies, but not everybody got a Sharpie. So now you're going to choose another partner, and you're going to draw them without looking at the paper. Okay? You're going to look at the other person straight in the eye and draw that person. And then you're going to sign it and give it to them. Okay? Don't look at the paper. Sign it. There's a reason why it's called Picasso. Sign it and give it to the partner. What can we learn about this exercise? Who got excited to be drawing a partner? Okay, what can we learn about this exercise? I'm sorry?
That I'm really, really bad at drawing.
You're not that bad at drawing?
I'm very bad at it.
That you're very bad? No. Who did you draw?
That.
This. Do you appreciate this?
Yes.
Yes, and? Yes, and? What do you appreciate about it?
There was an attempt.
The intention, okay.
Sure about that?
Okay, what can we learn about this exercise? Why do you think we did it? There's some similarities with the duck, okay? And the reason why I do it is because I want you to walk out of here knowing that it doesn't need to be perfect, okay? How come it, I'm not an artist. You asked me not to look. It's not going to be perfect. And the person receiving it, did anybody start crying? Were there any consequences to it? Most likely people laughed and said, oh, thank you. You know? So what else can we learn? What do you think was hindering you from starting to draw?
Trying to please the other person.
Trying to please the other person. Being afraid of being judged. Oh my God, you know what? I'm going to draw a crooked eye and she's going to be offended or whatever, you know? What else was holding you back from starting to draw that?
Trying to draw the perfect picture.
Trying to be perfect, yeah? What else?
Can't see what you're doing.
Well, that was part of the instruction. So that's permission to fail. I was giving you permission to fail.
You couldn't get feedback on your drawing?
I was not going to grade you on it, so what were you saying? I'm sorry?
Like you can't get feedback on it, like you can't see how you're doing while you're doing it.
You cannot get feedback, immediate feedback. Oh my God, I put the nose where the mouse is supposed to go. And tweak it and make it perfect. But the instruction was that, you know? And that's what, go ahead.
It's almost like loss of control over the process.
Yeah. The urge to be in control, the urge to be perfect, it's something that hinders creativity a lot. Okay? And the instruction was simple. Just draw the other person, and you can't look at the paper while you draw them. Okay? Get doing. We'll perfect it later. Okay? Gotta control that instinct, to make everything perfect. Okay, so now we're gonna go, it's not gonna be a class, but I gotta go over some basic concepts, and then we're gonna walk you through the whole process, and we're gonna build something new from something very basic, and it's the coffee filters. But before that, I wanna make sure that everybody knows, have you heard of divergent and convergent thinking? Okay, I'm going to introduce those two concepts, divergent and convergent. Okay, and it's the kind of thinking that we're going to be using throughout the creative problem-solving process. We're going to be diverging and converging during clarification. This is the process like that the wheel that I showed you earlier on: clarification, ideation, develop and implement. So we're going to do divergent and convergent thinking in each step. Divergent thinking, I'm going to walk you through it right now. And these are the characteristics. It's more intuitive, more talk about possibilities, go for quantity, not for quality. It's more emotional, uses more of the imagination. Okay? And it's convergent thinking, it's more structure, logical, analyzing, filtering stuff out. This is not gonna work. We don't have the budget for that. It's the no. And all the limitations are the critical things that we have to consider. Okay? So it's more structured. Okay. So guidelines, we have talked about these, but deferred judgment is the first one. You say whatever comes to mind. Doesn't need to be perfect. It's seeking quantity, not quality. Okay? We're going to build on ideas. The copyright. It's already been done. We're going to tweak it. I'm going to take that nugget of information and make it bigger. It's yes and. Okay? We're going to seek wild ideas because we're not being judged. Nobody's judging us. We need 100 ideas for this. And people are like, oh my God, no, I cannot come up with 100 ideas. Yes, you can. Just change the color, change the language, the body part, whatever, okay? And come up with 100 ideas. And we're going to go for quantity. That's what's divergent thinking. Okay? So if I give you this, what can you come up with? A company name? What else can we come up with? A grooming center? Or a machine washer for dogs? Hold your judgment. It's not cruel. It's been done. It's been done. And it's safe. And the dog goes in there and it's like a car wash for dogs. Okay? Go for quantity. I want everybody to be dependent on this thing. So I gotta add a bunch of stuff. It used to be that we had a camera, we had an agenda, we had a calendar, we had a TV. And now everything is in here. Okay? So that's basically how it gets started. This is divergent thinking, and I always go like this: diverge, like go big, high, huge, and then convergent, like the filter. For convergent thinking, we need to be affirmative. And I'll show you how to be affirmative. I brought a tool that you can all take home and see how it's done. You gotta check objectives. Okay, now you have criteria. This needs to be done in 3 weeks. We only have $100 to do it. It needs to move sales by 3%, whatever, okay? Check on objectives. Improve ideas. So for development, this is really useful. And then consider novelty. Always, it's always easier to make a wild idea feasible than to make a boring idea wild, okay? So if I tell you this is a great idea, but we only have $100, you can cut the fat and still have a good idea. Okay, so that's how it's done. And then this is the tool that I was mentioning, and we're gonna use it for the coffee filter exercise, but I'll talk a little bit about it. It's called PPCO, and we probably heard of it when giving feedback. You always start with the pluses. What I like about this idea is this and that, and then you criticize the idea. But the idea here is not to criticize it. The idea here is to change all the concerns to how to. Say it's a great idea, but it's gonna cost $1 million. Instead of saying, oh, I'm sorry, we only have $100, you're gonna say, how can we make this more affordable? How can we cut costs so that it's $100? How can we, and that way we are orienting the brain to go back into the drawing board and tweak the wild idea and tame it down a little bit, okay? So, like I said, you're not gonna criticize it, oh, it's a great idea, but we don't have the budget for that. We're gonna say it's a great idea, and we only have $100 to implement it. See the difference? So now you have to go back and address the opportunities and overcome the concerns. So how can we make it if we only have $100? So it goes, yeah, you talk about the pluses, everything that you liked about the idea, the potential in the future. That's the springboard. I like this idea because whatever, it's gonna get a lot of dogs clean, and many dogs in my community smell or whatever. Plus, it has the potential of being a franchise or whatever. You know, like you add something, a potential in the future that idea can support. Then we're gonna go to the concerns. How? You know what? It might be cruel. How are we gonna address that? And instead of saying that, how can we make this not be stressful for the dog? The initial idea of having a dog in a washing machine was not very good, but how can we make sure that the dog is not stressed out? And then that's how we're gonna seek opportunities. So we know, we can put music in there, or we can just make it stable, whatever, But that's the way that this idea came about, and it's actually a profitable business. So we all have coffee filters, right? We have coffee filters, we have Post-it notes. I would like for everybody to have a couple of Post-it notes, and we're gonna do a full exercise going through the whole steps, and we're gonna put into use what we have learned.
Not everybody has Post-it notes.
Yeah, everybody has Post-it notes, a pen or a Sharpie or whatever you can write down. Everybody grab a coffee filter. So here's the problem. We have an overstock of coffee filters. And we don't want to waste them. So we got to come up with a new use of coffee filters so that we can sell them. First, I want everybody to silently, on the Post-it notes, write ideas of what other things we can do with the coffee filters. And I'm gonna guide you through different ways of getting more ideas, because I want each table to have 100 ideas, okay? So I'm gonna give you 3 minutes to do a silent brainstorming. second brainstorming, I gave every table a couple of these. Each person grabs one, read the profile, and you're going to come up with ideas based on the person or the brand that you have the profile for. So right now it's not you thinking, it's Elon Musk or whatever, or Oprah or Malala or whatever. You know, you have that profile, you read it, and you start thinking of ideas that this person or brand would come up to solve this problem. And you add to the ideas. Continue with the silent brainstorming, new ideas that come to mind after reading this. Okay, so the last round, I gave everybody a couple of cards like this. Everybody's going to pick one up. And you're going to write a couple of more ideas using this as your inspiration, whatever card you get. Okay? It can be like how you feel, what that makes you think, something in the texture, something in the picture. Got to springboard a couple of ideas, 1, 2, or 3 ideas. Stretch your thinking. Okay, now everybody count how many ideas you have per table. And I know there's a couple of tables that have 4 people and some have 6, but we're counting per table, okay? So who got to 50 ideas? Do you all have a number? Okay, any table got to 50 ideas? Okay? Any table got to 70 ideas? 70. How many ideas do you have? How many? 71. Okay. Let's do one more round. Can you mash up 2 ideas and get a new one? From the ideas that you brainstormed, can you mash 2 and come up with a new idea? Okay, we're going to discuss them in the group later. But I want to go over a couple of the things we saw, okay? The first brainstorming was a silent brainstorming, okay? The second one is called brand takeover. And basically, it's like the thinking hats. I mean, you put on a hat or whatever, and you're asked to think like somebody else. So it's no longer you, and that helps you defer judgment. It's not my idea, it's Disney's idea, or it's whatever, Elon Musk or Mahatma Gandhi, whoever you had. So that's going to spring new ideas because you're going to feel more relaxed, and it's no longer you. And then the third one is a mashup. The forced connection one, the card that I gave you, it's similar to the brand takeover, but it's basically forcing a connection between this inspiration and the ideas that you have to come up with. We're going to actually build a product now, and we're going to present. So I want everybody to discuss the ideas, but I'm going to give every table a different target. Okay? So basically, the criteria that you now have is that you're going to build a solution for this person. This is going to be your end user. And you have a bunch of ideas there. Okay, so the problem is that we don't want to waste the 10,000 coffee filters. But now everybody has a criteria, and the criteria is that whatever you build or whatever you design or whatever idea you come up with, it's going to be for that target that I just gave you, okay? You're going to come up with a solution for that target. I'm passing a worksheet that might help you present the idea to the group. Here, is everybody clear on what we're doing now? We're actually developing an idea and we're going to present it. I gave you a worksheet that might help you. You know, like you got to put a name to the idea. What is it used for? How is it used for? You can use it or you can decide not to use it, whatever, but everybody has 10 minutes to design something that's going to help me get rid of the 10,000 coffee filters, and I'm going to sell them to whatever you have on this. You got two options. Over here, are we ready to pitch? Is there any group that would rather not pitch the idea? Everybody excited to share the idea? Okay, so I'm gonna give each group 2 minutes to describe the idea. You don't have to fill them up, but basically, you know, like headline, tell us what the idea is, how it works, and we'll get moving, okay? So you want to start in a specific order, or anybody super excited? Go ahead. Obviously tell us what the target is, because everybody has a different target. Let's pay attention to them.
Our target career is a lifeguard, and one of the problems that lifeguards face is when giving CPR, they can have fluid come up through the body of the person that they're giving CPR to. So we thought that taking the coffee filters and covering it with covering the face of the person that needs CPR, they can still perform CPR through the filter but not have any fluids coming up through the mouth.
Okay. What's the name of the idea? Did you put a name to the?
CPR Saver.
CPR Safe.
CPR Safe.
Awesome. Anybody would like to give feedback? If you're going to provide feedback, you can do like PPCO style, something you like.
I thought it was a good use. The confusing part for me is like I thought coffee filters allowed fluid through them, so would the fluid be able to pass through the coffee filter?
Not if it's thick.
So if we're gonna, okay, so the way to frame it would be how to make sure that the fluid comes out. This is what I want you to practice. I mean, we're not, like obviously they had 10 minutes to develop that. It's an awesome idea. Everybody gets like, oh my God, I have to come up with something for, like a ghost. So it's good, but I want you to practice, like how to give feedback. If we take that, it will be, how can we make sure this is safe and fluid comes in and out or whatever. Okay? Perfect. Anybody else wants to say anything? Thank you. So let's go. Who else wants to pitch? Okay.
So we actually didn't get a card, so we decided to get creative and kind of.
I have many cards.
And kind of come up.
Make your own rules. That's good.
Right, exactly. Go by our own rules. So we decided that rather than send these things to the landfill, we were going to actually gather them all together, shred them up, and actually recycle them into paper, and then sell to either back to the paper mill or right directly to the retailer for them to send to their own paper mill so that they can resell it back to the customer as a recycled paper that you can use in printers and all sorts of different stuff.
Perfect. Anybody has feedback for them? What potential do you see? Go ahead.
Is it the right quality of paper to be able to make it printing paper?
That's a great question.
So how do you frame that? How do you frame that in a how-to?
Will it cost even more than the making the same filter from the wood?
It may.
What's the reason in this case?
It could be. It might be a good selling point, though, that it's a recycled coffee filter.
Just paying attention to it in order to frame that concern, because that would be a concern. So it would be like how to make sure it's the same quality as the whatever, the competition or whatever. That would be the way of framing it. How to make sure this is that, okay? Anybody else? Can somebody see a potential in that? It's got the potential to what? What's the potential?
More paper.
It's got the it's got the potential that it's not only a screw up that I have right now. It's got the potential to become a business for people that have used the coffee filter recycling, whatever. That's what I want you to think about. Like what this idea can come in the future. Okay, perfect. Who else?
Okay, so our product was astronaut hot because our target market was astronauts. So the way our product works is you put a bunch of coffee filters together and use it as a lining for the inside of an astronaut suit so it can cool their body and filter out the sweat. And our tagline was, "Don't sweat it, it's just space."
Awesome. Anybody wants to provide feedback to that team?
How does the material hold when it's either in a vacuum or not on Earth-like conditions?
Well, there's still a lot of R&D to be done to fully determine the potential, but yeah, we're getting there. There's definitely some concerns.
So would you have to after you use them, would you have to switch them out? Because you wouldn't want to just absorb sweat and then just leave it in there.
Yes, but there were 10,000 that had to be used, so it's a lot of uses.
Yeah, just a couple. It's the prototype.
Yeah.
Perfect. What do you like about this idea? Anybody? I think there's a lot to like. Come on. For an astronaut.
Very creative.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Who else is presenting their idea?
All right, so we had to design something for the president, and we went with shoe covers. So it's a big problem in the White House, apparently, that people are just tracking in all sorts of mud. So we figured we could use these to just put them right on your shoes, and then you wouldn't have to worry about tracking in so much mud to the White House for the president. So
I see another potential, but I'm not going to say it.
You don't see any potential? Come on.
I'm going to keep it politically.
So, somebody's got a question about this.
How are we going to make it stick to the shoes?
So, well, what do we think about that?
We're thinking about getting some rubber bands.
Yeah.
And they'll definitely make it work.
Absolutely.
And also add the traction to your shoe, because these will reduce the traction, but the rubber will gain traction while you're walking around the hardwood floors.
Yeah. Oh, 1 second.
How would you make sure that the water part of the mud doesn't just go through the coffee filter?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, you double layer them probably, ideally. Yeah. Or you could have a bunch where you wipe them off first, then you put the shoe cover right on, then you'd be good to go.
Will it also help with the weather forecast from the president?
We're still working on that technology. That hasn't been released to the public yet, so we'll get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, so who's... Oh, sorry, I told her. Let's go, yeah.
Oh,
okay.
So we...
It's recording.
Okay. So we came up with an idea for a grandmother. So we turn these things into decomposable fans because old people are always like hot, like especially old women. We decided that they can be customizable. You can like, the grandmother could give this to her grandkids to like color on, so she could have a customized fan and she could cool off her baking cookies with it. So that's our idea.
Awesome. Any feedback for them? Okay, so then we're gonna move on. Sold, right? Yeah. Are we gonna get rid of the 10,000 overstock we have? Awesome. Okay, so let's go with.
Our company name, is Florida Pour. And so our logo here is some water and some dirt next to it. Tagline, off the floor into
Sorry,
the...
what was the target?
Oh, sorry, yeah, my bad. We had a janitor, so we're talking to someone who cleans a lot of things. Could also be applied for home use. So pretty much what happens is you mop the floor and get a lot of dirty water with some sediment. Then the dirty mop water is then poured into a device that we'll also sell, utilizing these filters, customizable to whatever layer you want. And then that water is now sediment-free. There still might be some pollutants in it, but then you can use that to maybe water some houseplants and not see bits of trash in there. And then the water is now can be kind of been preliminary sediment removal, and then you now can grow a garden without trash in your garden while we're using the water.
Feedback? Okay, so let's move it to the next one. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to speed this up because I want to get you out in time. How many groups do we still have that have not pitched the idea? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, so our idea was we had to appeal to princesses. So we had to, we decided to make out of the movie Tangled, like the floating candles. So we have incandescent coffee candles. And basically, we wanted to utilize the second law of thermodynamics, and the first law, of course. And then we had to have creepy, crafty climbing candles that go into the clouds. That's our tagline. And it's best for weddings, it's low price, and it's a specialty firework. Because once they reach the top, then they explode. Okay, so and then the candle works like a hot air balloon and it rises into the atmosphere through thermodynamics. And basically, you put it on a crane, it goes on top of the crane, and then once you light the candle, it floats up, it burns the parts beneath it, and then it keeps on bringing the gases upwards, and then it pushes up to the top where it burns, explodes, and then it comes back into the ground. And so it's a creepy, crafty, climbing candle.
Awesome. Perfect. Any feedback for them?
How does that use what are the first two laws of thermodynamics?
Well, the first law is that all energy cannot be created or destroyed, and the second law defines entropy. So once you have one piece of matter, it keeps on rising to other levels of disorder. So basically, once you have that fire, then that fire keeps on igniting those solids to get into gas molecules.
Awesome. Fully developed, you know. Who else do we have? We have these two, right? Go ahead.
I don't know if we can top that, but so our product was for fishermen, and it's an inexpensive hat for fishermen, and our tagline is, without a fat catch, you will still have your hat. It has a strong ability to stop UV rays, and it will have a under-the-chin strap so it doesn't blow off in the wind. But if it does happen to blow off and they fly away, you'll have 10,000 of them. Yeah. That's it.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Our target was dads. So our product is called the Dad Catcher. And the tagline is keep dad clean. So basically what it is we're going to pretty much use this as it is, maybe with some double layering, triple layering, and it might have some sort of adhesive device so it can be placed under like a beer or like a bowl of chips or snacks or something. So when dad's kind of on the couch watching TV making a mess,
Okay.
it'll catch all that. And we're thinking about kind of prototyping like a mega one that'll go under Dad's whole like recliner chair in the living room, so that there's no mess underneath. Yeah, and it's for dads who are a little messy.
Thank you. Perfect. Thank you very much. Any feedback for them? Anything you like? Come on, let's go. For messy moms? Moms are never messy.
We're working on the mom.
Good. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so we had Treasure Hunter. So we came up with the Gold Rush. It is essentially, you have a bunch of these, so they become super hard, and you can kind of do all your digging, and then once you find what you're looking for, you remove one individually, and you can sift through it all. So it's a multi-use Gold Rush. The tagline is treasure it. Yeah.
Perfect. Any feedback? Awesome. Of course. Oh, what do we do with this? Oh, you still?
All right, so our product is for doctors. So basically you just cut this piece of filter into 2 rectangles, and then you hole punch the sides and put strings over them, and then doctors and nurses can use them as face masks. And they can filter out the germs. So our name is the Germless Mask, and our tagline is filter the germs out of your face.
Perfect. Okay, so let's give a round of applause, everybody. Okay, I've done this exercise many, many times, and it's incredible how I keep hearing ideas that I've never heard. So why do you think this works? Why do you think I can make you guys come up with different ideas that I haven't heard before, and I've done this seriously at least 20 times? What do you think happened today?
We have different groups of people.
Diversity of the represented in the diversity represented in each table. What else?
The environment, like a different environment that we're in.
The environment. Yeah, we built the environment. I didn't just throw you in there and told you, okay, we have this, I have a problem, go ahead, fix it. It wasn't like that. You know, I explained to you how to be creative, how to have fun, how to use affirmative action and say yes and all that. What else? So the environment was appropriate for people to become creative. That's very important. I've also done, I do a lot of innovation consulting, and some people want to cut through the budget and tell me not to do the kickoff. And the kickoff is the creativity mindsets. And trust me, it's so difficult, because all along the process you have people saying, no, we already tried that, the budget is not there, we only have 2 months, and they don't have the mindsets for innovation. It's not going to happen. Okay, so building the environment, it's very, 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 very important. Having diversity is very important. Sometimes, you know, like you have a couple of, say, a bank that wants to innovate in service design or whatever, and you have bankers solve the problem, and you bring somebody from a different industry in, and all of a sudden, boom, you know, like he doesn't understand banking, so he's not afraid to ask the silly questions that we assume, and all of a sudden we have great ideas that this person, this outsider brought in. So diversity is important, and building the right environment. What else? What else do you think happened today? Anyone? Anyone? I gave you the option.
Probably went outside our comfort zone a little bit.
Yep. You all went out of your comfort zone. I gave you a limited option, but I gave you 2 options. And I allowed you to choose instead of telling you you're going to do this. So you could, okay, you know what? We have a bunch of ideas here. Let's play with this one, and if it doesn't work, let's flip it and play with the other one, so that you have motivation to solve the problem. Maybe you didn't want to solve for a grandma, but there's a magician in the back oh, you know what? Yeah, we can do with that. So that's also important, that people have the motivation to solve the problem and be creative. What else? I'm sorry? The combination of the brainstorming techniques that I gave you, so that, okay, perfect. How did you think that helped you?
Help me try and think of how I could release the picture and how people get the stories. Like a profile of their approach to them, how they approach failure and running ideas.
Awesome. And building on that, I've done the exercise also without running people through the whole process or giving them different brainstorming techniques. And then you know what happens? Tip of the iceberg. I tell them the problem. I have 10,000 coffee filters that I need to get rid of. What do? I get napkins. Use them for napkins. The most basic one. Why? Because they didn't have many ideas to draw upon. I know there's a lot of waste, and you had 20, 30, maybe 40 ideas on the table, and you want to use them all. There's going to be waste, but had I not done that, I assure you that you're going to go for the traditional idea, tip of the iceberg, the one that anybody can get. So I always push for quantity, and then when we filter and when we have the criteria, then you can get to choose which ones you can do and develop. Okay? Anything else that you want to share? One more thing, and it's got to do with diversity, but also the collaboration. Ideas grow when you collaborate. And I've worked in advertising for a long time. And working with creative people, it's not always easy because everybody thinks that their ideas are the best. Of course, it's yours. Like telling your kid that he's ugly. No, it's not gonna. My kid is not ugly. My ideas are not bad. So you're in love with your ideas and you think they're the greatest. But when you collaborate and when you say them out loud and when you share them and somebody interprets something different and adds to it, ideas grow. And then they're no longer your idea. It's the group idea. Okay? So if they tell you to go and have a brainstorming and come back with a great idea, always say, you know what? I need a soundboard. Let's do this in group. Okay? Creativity benefits from collaboration. Okay, so everybody close their eyes. And raise your hand if you feel like you're a creative person. Are you doing this to please me? Okay, perfect, awesome. Thank you so much. If you want to stay and talk about anything, if you want to play a game, this is actually a fun game. It's called Snake Oil. And the way it's played, I give you 2 or 3, and then I come up with you have to come up with a product for that, like mashing it up. And then I give you it's very similar to what we did with the coffee filter. So.
Everyone, let's thank Alexandra.
Thank you.
So I'd also like to thank Bottom Line Technologies again for sponsoring this and allowing Alexandra to come up to meet with us. So a lot of you, it's a little bit of a similar question, but a lot of you came in here not really knowing what you were expecting. So how many of you did this exceed your expectations of what you thought might happen today? That's fantastic. Thanks very much. So one thing just to be thoughtful of. So on November 1st, we're having a hackathon, ideathon, which basically takes a lot of this. But this one actually is going to center around an office project in Portsmouth. And the idea is to sort of rethink how to design or elements to add to an office park that would be suitable for young professionals. So if you sort of like this process, there's teams, you'll hear more about it, particularly if you're an IT Passport. There's more about it. There's also cash prizes, like there's $3,000 of cash prizes for it. So keep in tune to that. And then one more shout out, if you guys want to see how other entrepreneurs have done this on Thursday, October 17th. One of the founders of the Juicery is speaking at the E-Center, and another guy who founded the Friendly Toast recruiting company and 360 secret shopper. So all stuff you probably hear about, but thanks so much for coming, for your time, your attention, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again.